What a city night we got here inside of Paycom Center. Overtime action between the Thunder and the Nuggets. Your final score, 127-121. And after the game, our very own Nick Gallo got a chance to catch up with Alex Caruso. Let's listen in.
Alex, the compete level in this game. Yeah, I'm just leaving it all on the floor, the compete level in this game, just seems so intense. What's it like to be out there?
It was good for us. We're getting to that time of the year where the games really, really matter. So, I think it was good for us to kind of come out and have some adversity and battle through that.
You had to execute in the overtime without Shai, without Hart, without Lu. What went into that?
Honestly, it looks perfect. I mean, we've been playing without a couple of those guys, Shai specifically for the last month. So we kind of felt comfortable. We knew what to do. This guy stepped up, made big plays.
You made some great plays too. What'd you like better, the steals in transition or the threes?
Those are both good. They're both good. I should have taken another one for game at the end. That's probably the mistake I'll look back on. But it was good. It was good to get a couple to go in.
All right. Well, you can look at film on that one. Congrats on the win.
Appreciate it.
Oh my gosh. Nick Gallo with the Alex Caruso headband post-game, and that headband has seen a lot of winning plays. I'll tell you that. Great contributions from AC throughout this ball game. I have no doubt that there was a lot of perspiration in that headband because AC was working hard tonight.
No doubt. I mean, I hope that, maybe some of the healing powers of Alex Caruso could go to help Nick right there. Maybe some, that headband, there's a lot of people that I think around this building would have loved to put that headband on after what Alex Caruso did in this game, because the game-winning plays, I mean, it was the big shots, but the hustle back in transition. I mean, this is what AC is known for. This is what he has built his career on, is those types of impactful game-winning plays, and he made a number of them tonight.
It's a big reason why Coach Dagnall calls AC a winner, because he just makes those sort of plays when you need them the most. Well, another player who made a lot of winning plays in this game here tonight, it is our forward player of the game, and it is none other than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. That is a sight for sore eyes, seeing him back out there onto the court. His first game back after missing the last 9 with an abdominal strain. And Royce, I'd say he picked up right where he left off with 36 points.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And, again, you could kind of justifiably so. SGA got off to a bit of a slow start, was a little short on a few jumpers, but just kind of kept persevering, kept going. And as SGA does, he is never moved or frustrated by any kind of misses. He just plays through it, plays to the next possession, did a great job of that. And I think what really kind of got him going was just his aggressiveness. He really played downhill throughout this game, got into the paint all game long. And you can see it there, 36 points, and just did a tremendous job of really kind of stabilizing the Thunder early on in the game, and then in that third quarter when they really needed a boost.
How about the 2 steals and 2 blocks we had from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in this one? The activity that he came out with on both ends of the floor, great to see for him in this game against the Nuggets.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that's what you would expect from SGA, but for a guy that's missed a good amount of time, you're trying to work back in, you're trying to play, but SGA has always been a 2-end player. He prioritizes that. He takes a lot of pride in the fact that he plays both ends of the floor, and he was great on the defensive end. There was a few times you could tell that he was trying to catch his wind a little bit because the guy works so hard on both ends of the floor.
Yeah, great to see him back out there for Oklahoma City, though, ramping himself back up, getting back into the fold, and putting up a lot of big buckets. And we want to remind you that you can watch every highlight and every big moment with game replays on the FanDuel app and your choice of 5, 10, or 15-minute condensed games. Download the FanDuel Sports Network app today. And stick with us here on Thunder Live, because after one quick game at home, the Thunder are going to set out for 3 games on the road, and it begins in Dallas to square off against the Mavericks here shortly. When we come back, we'll break down everything you need to know as the Thunder sets out for a 3-game road trip.
Coming up after post-game coverage in most regions, an encore edition of Golic and Golic. With MLB season and the World Baseball Classic right around the corner, we talked with ESPN's Carl Ravitch about what to expect. And tune in Monday, ton of reaction and analysis from the NFL Combine with NFL draft analyst Dane Brugler. It's Golic and Golic, weekdays here on FanDuel Sports Network.
Thunder Live on FanDuel Sports Network is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. An electric atmosphere here on Friday night inside of Paycom Center, 127-121 in overtime. Let's hear from Thunder head coach Mark Dagnall postgame.
What do you think of your team's competitive nature defensively, especially to keep this game within boundaries, and then, of course, in overtime, letting it turn into offense?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, great game. First of all, great crowd. Shout out to our fans. That had a real buzz to it tonight. I thought we kind of rooted back in the present moment. Many times they made shots early. We had some good looks early that didn't go down, so the game got away from us early, and I thought we just played the next possession. We had the altercation. That hypes things up. But we just played the next possession. We got back into the game. And then the overtime. Anytime overtime starts, there's usually a build-up, and then, you're back at 5 minutes, and you got to kind of restart the race. And that group out there was incredible, especially defensively. So, unbelievably happy with the effort by the guys. That was a well-earned win. It was a well-played game. And we got a lot to be happy about with it.
Just want to ask about Shai not playing overtime. Was it like a minute restriction thing?
Yeah, look, I understand that's coming. He's coming off of a 24-day injury. There's a return to play. One of the conditions of getting him on the court tonight is holding him at a certain point minute-wise. We actually discussed that situation with both him and Hart before the game, just so we're all clear in a non-emotional moment that if we were in that situation, that's what we would do. We obviously did it. I understand it's a little unorthodox, but at the end of the day, we're trying to prioritize the health of our players as they come back from an injury. But with that said, unbelievable effort by the guys that were out there, to, like I said, the rest of the team didn't know we had that conversation, so we just subbed the MVP and our starter, at the beginning of overtime, and it's like, all right. And they attacked that game. They deserve a lot of credit for that.
And given, the environment, the intensity of the game, the physicality and everything that was going on, and the way you guys responded, just what'd you like about how you guys handled every situation? You alluded to it earlier with Rob.
Yeah, similar answer. It's just an imperfect game. When you play a great team like Denver, and two teams that are as familiar with each other as we are, the game's just not going to be perfect for either team. It's just not. The competition's too hot. The teams know each other too well. It's a real stress test for everybody involved. And so you have to have the mental toughness to move into the next possession. And I thought that was the mark of us tonight. I thought that was the best thing we did tonight, to even force overtime in a game that they controlled for much of it, and then to go get the game in overtime the way we did.
You talked at length about when Shai was out and other guys were out, about how, trying to make the most of those opportunities for guys in different roles and whatnot. Just how does tonight kind of like an example of that, where it helped prepare you guys for that overtime stretch with Shai on the bench?
Yeah, it certainly did. And then the game tonight, and certainly the way we played down the stretch, prepares us for whatever's coming forward, including when Shai's available, including when we're whole. Like the ball comes out to a player and he's got to make a play. The confidence to make that play is important, and that confidence gets built through experiences, and that's what's happening with a lot of our guys right now, is they're building confidence through these experiences. It's not all pretty. We haven't won every game, but they've done a great job, and we've done a great job of enduring, and it's making us stronger because of the mindset we're taking to it.
What was your perspective on that fracas in the fourth quarter and the way that the officials handled it after the review?
The Dort.
Yeah,
Jokic,
Dort,
that whole
Joker,
thing.
J. Will, the
Yep.
whole deal.
If you were watching the game, I think you could see very clearly, very early, that was a chippy game. These are two teams that played each other in a 7-game series. We're in the same division. We've played each other 100 times. They know our playbook. We know their playbook. It's just what it is. Like I said, it's going to be an imperfect game. And things get, they escalate like that sometimes. I know Lou. I know Jokic. I know J. Will. I don't think anybody's trying to hurt anybody. They're just great competitors. And, that's what I said. I thought it just boiled over. I think it was nothing more than that. I will say this. If J. Will is running up the floor and gets tripped, we expect a flagrant 2 from this point forward. That's all. If that's the precedent, if that becomes a malicious play and flagrant 2 is the line in the sand on that, we would expect that if it's J. Will. We would expect that if it's anybody. And if that's the case, we're good.
Did you think
fair from Thunder head coach Mark Daigneault post-game, and there was a lot of emotion in this game, a playoff atmosphere to his point. These two teams with so much familiarity, so much history, and so much emotion. I mean, we are nearing the end of the regular season. There's playoff positioning at stake as well, division rivals, so much boiling up in this game that led to a very heated moment in the middle of the game.
No doubt about it, and I thought Coach Mark said it well right there, just about kind of the way that kind of generates itself sometimes, but also I thought he made a great point just about, the idea of kind of thinking like SGA knew that he wasn't coming out there for overtime. Hart knew it, but nobody else did. And so,
that's a good point.
But those guys walked out on the court in overtime like, all right, we're ready to play. Our number's called. Ijo was out there. Kaysen was ready. Like, the Thunder were down 3 starters in that overtime.
That's right.
And they just walked out on the court and played 5 great minutes of basketball to go win that game.
Well, this team has built up that muscle of adaptability all season long and even into last season as well. So all of these guys certainly ready when their number has been called, and they stepped up big time when the Thunder needed them in overtime, playing without Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. All right, that's a wrap on February for Oklahoma City, and now we head into March, and we do so on the road. Take a look at this schedule for Oklahoma City. You'll see a nice long homestand after the Thunder gets back from New York, and then the longest road trip of the season that begins in those final 2 weeks of March. And so a lot of games still to play for Oklahoma City, but it all starts on March 1st. That is a Sunday out in Dallas, squaring off against the Mavs. And you want to talk about two teams that have a lot of familiarity with one another, the Dallas Mavericks, that's another one as well, Royce.
No doubt. I mean, just down I-35, the Thunder and the Mavericks have seen each other. But, I mean, the Mavericks, obviously, their season has tilted a little bit. Mm-hmm. Cooper Flagg's injury has really affected their ability to kind of put a competitive team on the floor lately. They've lost 12 out of their last 14 games, as you can see. And, Cooper Flagg has been sensational. He's probably not going to be available to play in the game Sunday. But, this Dallas Mavericks team is one that is transitioning, rebuilding, and they're looking at a lot of different types of players. So maybe there's some familiarity between these two teams, but there may be some unfamiliar names that takes the court on that game Sunday.
A good point. Some different personnel for both teams out there on the court in Dallas as the Thunder kicks off a 3-game road trip that begins in Dallas and oddly enough ends in New York City before the Thunder returns back home. But it all starts on Sunday, March 1st, as the Thunder takes on the Mavs. Just a reminder, that game tips off at 7 p.m. Central Time, but tune in 30 minutes early. Me and Royce, we've got you covered on Thunder Live at 6:30 on FanDuel Sports Network. But that wraps us up here inside of Paycom Center. What an electric, emotional atmosphere we had as the Thunder squared off against the Denver Nuggets in their final game of February. One quick game at home, and these two teams battled it out. And the Thunder, after trailing by as many as 16 points, won this game in overtime, 127-101. They now hit the road to start March. Until then, thanks so much for staying up late with us. Have a great rest of your night.